I'm going to call this speech the Confabulators, and I'll explain why. I've been watching the rebel media coverage lately on the freedom of speech fascist disruptors of speakers such as President Donald Trump, Milo Yiannopoulos, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and more recently our own Ezra Levant. At the same time, I've been reading a book by Kathryn Schultz called Being Wrong. Although Schultz approaches the topic of being wrong much more scientifically than I do, there were several passages that might just explain some of the outbursts and unreasonable levels of violent reaction that are becoming ever more commonplace in what used to be thought of as healthy areas and forums for debate and discussion. To coin a phrase from the book, to confabulate means basically to make stuff up. Ms. Schultz states that each of us possesses an inner writer and an inner fact checker. This is our way, she maintains, of making sure that we're credible in the eyes of others. But then she goes on to ask, well, what happens when the fact checker falls asleep on the job? Well, this seems to be happening with the ever more vocal left and their refusal to come to grips with the fact that their narrative that we must all be racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, or any phobic, if we dare to disagree with their assertions, is now falling out of style with a resounding thud. Ms. Schultz goes on to say that all of us have mildly confabulatory personalities. Some are more developed than others, and that's to say, really, no one likes to be wrong. She cites the psychologist E.A. Weinstein, who found that this type of personality, i.e. the serious confabulator, is generally stubborn with an emphasis on being right. Sound familiar? When the confabulator claims to know something, he or she is essentially saying that they can't be wrong. It's all about knowledge versus belief, which Ms. Schultz contends is the atomic unit of error. This probably explains why the disruptive left are having atomic meltdowns. They, in their own poorly fact-checked minds, know very little, but believe very strongly that only they can be right. Ask them, while they are being disruptive, to debate or argue civilly, and they continue their noisy agitation because they really have nothing to say. The fact-checker part of the brain has gone on strike. A textbook example of confabulation, if ever there was one. We're left with robotic-like machines who continue to make noise on command without really understanding why. I recommend the book Being Wrong by Kathryn Schultz.